Hi, Devanny. Welcome to MovieJunk. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining. And for no surprise to horror fans, fans know Devanny from movies like The Dawn, Piranha 3D, Of the Devil. Can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Thank you. Now I'm happy to be here. And we were just chatting before we came on here about how much you love movies and television. So, this is technically work for me, but I absolutely love it. I could talk to you all day.
Definitely, definitely. That's what we got you on. We want to talk movie shop with you.
Yeah.
Also, too, this film also stars another legend in Wells, who fans know from Weird Science, Commando, Mad Max 2, all-time classics. So definitely, you guys have a father-daughter relationship. And if fans haven't seen the trailer yet, I mean, this is a story between a father and daughter who get stranded in a remote location, are forced to fight for your lives. So if I'm not mistaken, this was also inspired by true events. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. I can't go into details of the actual article because it is spoilers. It's
Okay.
very prominently featured in our finale.
Wow.
But yes, but this is a true story. Cleopatra Entertainment during like the height of the pandemic was willing to take a chance when a lot of movie studios weren't sure if film was coming back or if television was ever going to be changed. They were willing to come on board and do a project with us. They really like true stories, and so James Cullen Bressack, who is our EP, uh, was scouring the internet for interesting, inspired by stories, and he came across this one article, and that's actually how he pitched me this whole movie. He just texted me the article and was like, "Are you down?"
Yeah, I was
And
just. Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Go.
no. So um, the events were pretty intense, and so I had to really think about it because I was actually 6 and 9 months pregnant when we filmed this, and
So that was real. That wasn't
all
any
that was
stuff.
real.
Awesome. Awesome. Was there any consideration that you had in mind, like maybe I should wait afterwards, or did it help build credibility to the character?
Well, so it's interesting because at the time, it was the height of COVID and
Yeah.
lockdowns, and I'm a workaholic. So this was like, even though I had shot like 4 or 5 movies that year, I had never had downtime before. So I was getting stir crazy. My whole team was that way. We're all workaholics. So, probably the smart side of me would have been like, oh, I should probably just wait to do this.
Yep.
But
And
I didn't know any different. It was my first and only child. So if I now knowing what I know about being very pregnant, I probably would not have done this film. It
yeah,
was
because
really hard to do. By the time I didn't know that, I was like, I got this. It's fine. And so we did it.
yeah, and also too, I mean, this wasn't the first time that you've worked with Vernon Wells before, right?
Yes, Vernon and I have worked on a ton of movies together.
Yeah.
Actually, it's kind of a selling point. He will get buttered up if he knows I'm involved and do it, and I'm the same way. That's kind of how you can get me on. If you say Vernon's doing it, I'm like, all right, I'll do it too. I absolutely love him. He's been wonderful to me. We met years ago at a convention, um, and I am very noisy, so I was like bugging him. We became friends, and then we started putting our tables together at signings, and then we started working together, and he is a phenomenal talent. Something that I've been talking a lot about during this press tour for Frost is um, we had done a ton of movies together, but it was always I was making a cameo, he was making a cameo, we'd have a few lines together or one scene, and that was it. We had never had the opportunity to really do something meaty opposite each other, and that was the appeal of this film, and why he took the role and was really excited about it. He gives, in my opinion, a phenomenal performance, and
Yeah.
I think he gets underused a lot in a lot of his because he is so iconic. They bring him in for a few days to be Vernon Wells and send him home, and he has so much range and so much talent, and I think that's on display here in Frost.
But also too, like his character is sort of isolated. He's a little bit of a hermit, right? When we first
Yes.
see him. And one of my favorite scenes with you guys, because again, and not to give any spoilers, but he's a little hesitant to be accepting of the surprise that you give him when you first see him, but that joy that he gives when he's accepting to be a grandpa. I really loved that, just seeing that comfort between the two of you. But little do we know what's in store for the both you characters down the road.
Yeah, it's definitely a full journey. That was part of the challenge, was to really establish these two people and all the baggage they were bringing to the top of this movie and in rekindling and make you feel, because this kind of a movie is a survival type setting. You have to care about, you have to want to go on that journey with these people. And so there was, Vernon and I spent a lot of time talking about the chemistry between our characters and really working hard to establish this history in just a couple of minutes and make you want to see these people work it out and work together, come together, and then survive together. And he had a ton of ideas for the role and how he wanted to play it and how he wanted those dynamics to happen. And I just loved working with him. It did feel very natural for me. He's a very warm presence. So being icy was almost a little extra work, but he is so fatherly and so kind and protective by instinct. I was really hoping that would come through on the camera, because it definitely did when we were shooting it. It was fun.
Yeah, definitely the scenes where he, gets off as a little angry. You start, feeling a little bit of that Bennett, like we've seen from Commando. I was
Yes.
like, I saw him channeling that a little bit right there, even from like Mad Max.
Yes.
So I loved, I loved seeing that. And also too, this isn't the first time that you'd worked with Brandon Slagle as well too. So the three of you together, were you guys able to, or for you and Vernon, were you guys able to, ad lib some of your scenes? And it sounds like you had a little bit of input with how the script was as well. Did you guys have some artistic liberties?
So Brandon is, when he first started, he's had a long prolific career as well. When he first started, he was an actor, and so he's long since ended those days. He just directs and writes now, but he's very, very much an actor's director. So the reason that I do continue to work with him, and I think Vernon and a lot of people who seek him out as a director, they love that, because Brandon knows what he wants out of the characters, out of the character arcs for this story, and he tends to tell stories that are character driven. So he hires people that he knows can deliver what he needs for a scene, but also gives them room to rework things. And he's not someone who's like, you can't change a single word, or, I need A, B, and C precisely. That some people are like that. Brandon knows exactly when to stand his ground on certain elements, knows how to push you for others, and then knows how to let actors bring interesting moments out of the scenes and out of each other as well. And he has worked with both Vernon and I before as actors, so he knows kind of how our dynamics are. And I think, again, you really need somebody who loves actors and loves to work with them, and the actors need to trust their director in this, especially in a story like this when it is so emotional and so physical.
Yeah, and one of the things that I really loved was the cinematography of the film as well too, right? The snow, we're out in the woods, the killer wolf that we see as well too.
Yes.
What was it like, shooting that scene? Again, don't have to get too much into spoilers, but that's one of the most intense scenes in the film. And your character's in some serious danger. But like, what's it like? What was it like shooting that scene? Was that a real wolf in front of you, or CGI, or what was that like?
That is a real wolf. His name is Shadow. He
Shadow.
is Shadow. Yes, he is. Despite Vernon and myself, the most prolific actor in the movie. He's one of the wolves from Game of Thrones.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so he has a long resume as well. I really loved the opportunity. I was very excited to shoot with a real wolf, right? That's like exciting as an actor. This was a modest budget. So usually when they have new tricks, and he's a very, very experienced actor, but the jumping up into the car and attacking was a new skill for him. So they wanted a week or so to train him to do that,
Mhm.
precisely and safely. And budget wise, they had a half a day. So the whole crew, we shot to make it more attainable for the wolf and the trainers. We shot at their green screen studio. It was the only day that was not on location itself, and the whole crew was like way far away on the other side of the studio. Like all these barriers were locked off, so they wouldn't interfere with the wolf. And then like, okay, Dad, get in the car.
Yeah.
And the wolf's gonna just jump through the window and try to eat you. And I'm like, and again, they chopped the training period from a week to a half day. So I was like, oh my God, how's this gonna go? So I was not acting in that scene. That was just me trying not to die. But I shouldn't have been worried, because honestly, he was so pro. The way they do it, and you'll see this in the movie, they put a piece of meat on a long stick, and the meat counters to where his 2 is. So he'll have a 1, a starting point, and a 2 where he needs to end up. So literally, we filmed him for 2 or 3 hours. He hit his mark every single time.
Wow.
Shadow was a professional. He was making the circles. He knew his angles. He did his exits and entrances. He hit the camera, POVs and at me. He was fantastic. We had so much usable footage from the wolf, and I, again, like you said, I really added some height. When you have a movie that's contained like Frost, you have to have the ups and downs in order to make the story go, because sitting in a seat for 2 hours can get kind of boring. So Shadow added some much needed heightened moments right smack in the middle of the film, and to shake things up and shake the audience up. And yes, as much as possible, we kept things practical and real, and that includes all of our animal sequences.
Yeah, because I was like, this is a real wolf. I was like, this is not CGI. And I was mentioning, earlier before our interview that we had, a little bit of a mini watch party, for watching the film. So that was definitely the most intense scene. We got the most reactions during that scene as well too. And I was like, this is like definitely one of the big questions I wanted to discuss. And it might even be, this scene. But what was the most difficult scene for you to shoot?
The most difficult, probably, that was as scary as it was at first. That was fun. So it really was not difficult to do that. And I loved shooting them. The whole team there. He lives on an animal sanctuary north of Los Angeles. They have a ton of animal performers there, bears, lions, everything. So thank you to their team. Just quick shout out. Probably the most difficult scene for me to shoot, mini spoilers, was the birthing scene, because I was very, very pregnant. And I don't know if you have children or not. You look a little young. But
not yet. Hopefully,
no.
soon, though, God willing.
So well, when you're pregnant, it's kind of an unspoken rule that you don't watch any birthing videos. You watch all kinds of videos and books, information on like how the whole process is going to go, but they say don't look at anything for birth until you're right up on it. So I didn't know what I was getting into, but I waited till like we broke for lunch, and the next scenes I was shooting were some birthing scenes. And so I was like, well, I have to watch some videos to see how I can accurately portray this.
Yeah.
I watched them and I came out traumatized. I was like, I'll just stay pregnant forever. I was like, I don't need to do this. I was so distracted and panicked about like what was going to happen to me, in just a few months later. So I was like having to refocus and really try to do that. So that sequence, and then what followed right after it were probably the hardest for me, because I was like a hormonal pregnant mess at that point. And just having to, I played a lot of true characters before. I played Casey Anthony. I played Susan Atkins. I've done, cases of Black Dahlia, Amityville Horror, a ton of real life material. And I've played some really bad people. Some really bad scenarios, but it's very easy to draw the line for me about reality and work.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps it kind of safe and sane. This one was harder because so many of the elements personally and my environment, everything around me, so much of it was very real. Yep. And so it was very different kind of, very different animal for me, because I was having a hard time separating the work mode from what was really happening to me. And I think that comes out a little bit in the film with some of the intensity there.
Yeah, no, you do an amazing job. And you mentioned earlier, your baby, is it a daughter that you have?
Yes, little girl.
Right. So once she gets, a little bit older, right? Like I'm sure she's gonna watch that movie and be like, hey, I was in this movie, right? So like
So,
as
so
me.
she actually is in the movie. There's a couple of little clips of her in there. But beyond that, and we brought her to the premiere a few days ago just to show everyone she's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, hold on a second, what's going on over here?
Yeah, but other than that, no. She's, as far as we know, not pursuing anything beyond this, and we're not going to let her watch it until she's an adult because,
Yeah.
man, because she's still got to live with me.
No, definitely, definitely. I mean, that might be one of the earliest credits that an actress can receive, right?
That's right.
Yeah, no, awesome, awesome. And also too, man, I hate to let you sneak out without asking you, a horror question as well too, because I mean you've been in, many horror films as well. Do you have a favorite horror movie that either growing up or that you watched recently that you consider your all-time favorite horror movie or franchise?
Yes, I do. So when I was growing up, I was very sheltered, very Christian, very PG Disney kid. I did not watch horror at all until I was an adult.
Yeah.
Um, but my mom took my little brothers and I to go see this nice little dinosaur movie when I was a kid. And so the first scary movie I ever saw was this little dinosaur movie called Jurassic Park. And so we thought we were going to see, the first half of the movie. That's what that was advertised. I don't know if anyone remembers the original advertising, but they didn't, spoilers. They didn't tell you that the dinosaurs would turn around and start eating you. That was a fun little moment that
Yeah.
all of us discovered in the theater. So my mom, who kept very sheltered, was, horrified and trying to cover her eyes, and I was like, yeah. Loved, like, I was like rooting for the T-Rex, and that's how I knew something was weird about me. But when we came back a few weeks later to see some actual rated G movie, the movie theater had taped up a handwritten note on the box office warning about like traumatizing dinosaurs. So I mean, because they got so many complaints about it, so I thought that was pretty funny. So that was the only scary movie, quote unquote, I watched growing up. But when I was an adult, I couldn't get enough of it. That's probably why I ended up choosing a career in horror, because I just dove right in. My favorite as an adult, while I have a lot, I always say my number one is 1408. Have you
Mhm.
seen that one?
That's the Room Number, right? The movie,
Yes.
Remember? Yeah, yeah.
Yes. I,
That's
I think that is a perfect film. It's kind of its own subgenre. It's perfectly acted. You literally have no idea what's coming next at any moment. It it stands out on its own. It holds up on its own, despite being a little bit older at this point. It's, for me, it gave me chills and eerie's. It kept me on the edge of my seat, and the whole thing's done basically, ironically, one person in a room for most of the film, and I was just captivated. So I was like, that's a really, really well crafted story, and I went on that ride, and I did not even know it was coming for me, and I was so appreciative of that. I love that film.
Yeah, I mean that's also a classic, and I know we had mentioned earlier too that the Chucky TV series is coming out today,
Yes.
season two. So yeah, just and Halloween, the new Halloween, I think it's
Yeah.
N coming out soon. There's a big resurgence, for horror, even some of the classic movies that are coming back as well too. I think there was some rumblings about Friday the 13th.
I didn't get another reboot. What a fun time though! Like all these classic movies we get to like re-enjoy right now. It's such a cool time in cinema, because you know some people are iffy about reboots or continuations of series, but I think it's so fun to like have all these beloved stories and franchises and properties, and then have the excitement of they're coming back now as adults to give us another taste of it. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not, but like I just think it's so exciting, and that's what I want to feel as a movie fan. I want to be excited about what's coming up, and how can you not right now? There's so much great stuff out there.
Yeah, I don't mind reboots. Worst case scenario, you just reboot the reboot, right?
Right?
So it's like,
Just keep going. Or if nothing else, go back to the original, but then it still reminds you how much you liked the original. So it depends on your perspective on it, but I think there's always something that you could enjoy about that. And on that note, I'm going to, like, I think I told you I'm going to see Hocus Pocus 2
Yep.
with Disney on Friday, so I'm excited about that. And I just I love it. I want to give a shout out too, because I know you're gonna watch Chucky. My ultimate horror girl crush is Fiona Dourif. I think she's so brilliant, and
Amazing. Amazing.
gosh, so cool. I was really like, I was kind of skeptical at first when she was gonna make her debut into the series. I'm like, okay, your relatives are good, but what about? And she just knocked it out of the park. I was like, oh, I love when people get it, like horror people, when they really
Yeah.
get the material. It just like gives you chills. So fun.
What was amazing? Did you watch season 1 of Chucky? Are you caught up with it at
I'm not
all?
caught up yet. So do not spoil it for me.
Okay.
I'm gonna do.
Okay.
I'm like weird about it. I usually don't watch. I don't watch season 1 of anything
Yeah.
until season 2 is ready,
Yep.
because I have a real problem about binging, and then I don't like to wait for stuff kind of spoiled that way. So when I know season 2's out, then I watch the entire thing so I can go into the next one and have more coming. So
Yep.
I started Chucky, but I have not finished it because I was waiting for the new season. So we'll have to come back and chat about all of them when they come out.
Yeah,
Fun.
I mean, she, without any spoilers, I mean, she does an amazing job. I mean, she was very good in, because we first see her in The Curse of Chucky.
Person Chucky. Yeah.
She was back in The Cult of Chucky, and then, season 1, and then now. I'm just gonna say that she is doing an amazing job. There's one
She's a
scene.
phenomenal actress. Gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
she's just doing an amazing job. Definitely, you're the most empathetic and feel for her character the most. You're rooting for her the most. But again, like we talk, it's a horror franchise, right? So
That's
we'll
right.
we'll see what happens with them. And I don't want to let you sneak out with that. Also, if you could share some of your upcoming projects that fans can also see you in, or is there any that are slated to come out soon as well?
Absolutely. Yes. So my next release, obviously Frost comes out October 11th. I
Yep.
should probably plug that. It comes out on DVD, Blu-ray, VOD. If you buy the Blu-ray, it comes with a bonus CD of the soundtrack. So I can do this without messing it up. Yeah. Okay. I have the vinyl here. The vinyl is available, the soundtrack for that, available now. So you can get that from Cleopatra Records, which is pretty cool. Coming up next, I have a World War II epic called Battle for Saipan. Completely different tone, obviously. Switching gears, that co-stars Casper Van Dien, Jeff Fahey, Louis Mandylor, a bunch of really talented people, and phenomenal performances in that. So I really hope that you'll all check that out. That comes out at the end of November from Saban and Paramount. I also have a creature feature about a big, I guess it's kind of taboo to say right now, but a big storm where everything floods, and a precinct in a small town floods, and alligators enter the building. And so it's inmates versus alligators, which is pretty fucking cool. Oh, I don't know if I could swear.
No, it's okay. You can
Pretty
swear.
cool. Okay.
They
Pretty
can't.
fucking
They
cool.
can't watch. They
Yeah.
can't watch Frost if they can. I mean, there. It's you can see Frost. You could say a couple swear words.
Okay, good. I did some that were like on air, and they were like, I couldn't believe it. So now I'm checking before, or at least trying to. Yeah, so those are coming out. Those are super fun. If you're in the LA area, I have a vampire movie called Appetite for Sin, which is premiering end of this month. I have more. I'm missing them. Oh my God, I'm gonna get fired. Camp Pleasant Lake just wrapped. I have amazing co-stars in that: Jonathan Lipnicki, Bonnie Aarons from The Nun, a whole slew of amazing people in that. So really exciting stuff happening this year. I hope that you will follow me on social media at Devanny Pinn, DEVANNYPINN. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I love chatting horror. I love chatting movies, as this guy knows. So please connect with me, and I hope that you will watch Frost and enjoy it.
Absolutely. Remember, guys, October 11th, DVD, Blu-ray, and also all streaming platforms as well too. We're going to share the link to the trailer as well, just so you can get a sneak peek of the film
Thank
too.
you.
And yeah, definitely, I had the privilege of seeing it just yesterday. So really excited for the fans to be able to see it as well. And definitely want to see if we can bring it back once we can talk spoilers as well.
Love that.
Can't thank you enough for joining today. This was one of the funnest interviews, and really amazing job in Frost. And can't wait for the fans to see as well. And just want to thank you again for joining Movie Junk.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for watching the film. I really appreciate it and having the opportunity to come on here. And I would love to talk to you again when we can get into all the gritty details. It'll be fun.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much, and have a great evening, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.